Egypt saved me because every monument we went to, I touched. Every place we went, I picked up a rock. But now I got water, and I got it past customs.
Yeah, of course.
And I got it upstairs.
There you go.
And when I came home, I anointed my house.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm here in Charleston, South Carolina, affectionately known as the Chuck Town, with my sister, Audrey Lisbon. As a matter of fact, she has been with us on our Maximum Impact Travel Experience in Egypt, and she's going to tell you a story I didn't even know. I came here to get some red rice and some okra soup, and then we were sitting down, and she hit me with something that really touched my heart. You know, and it really put me in a position of realizing the importance of travel on another level. I did not even think about it. And as she tells her story, I believe that it will touch someone who's watching right now. And I really want you to share this, because someone is going to benefit from this. I don't know who it is. I don't know where you are in the world, but you're going to benefit from this story. So, Miss Audrey.
Yes.
One, thank you for welcoming me into your lovely home.
I appreciate you being here, and I tell you, it's an honor.
It's an honor for me. Thank you so much for being willing to share.
Yes.
So walk us back to where you were mentally before your trip with us to Egypt.
I sure will. 2021, I had a brother, and well, as a matter of fact, my whole family. There were 6 siblings, and I'm the baby of the family. And my siblings, before me, they all met their demise, year for year. But my older brother, we were always close, very close, and he was like the matriarch of the family. He took my mother's place as far as taking care of all of us. There was never a no from my brother Danny. His name is Danny, and he was so proud of that name, Danny Grant. Danny Grant. So we were in Atlanta visiting my daughter and attending my grandson's graduation. And we had a wonderful time going. We were just laughing and singing, and I was about to graduate from Full Sails, with a music production degree.
Yes.
And it would have been my second, not in music, but And as he was quizzing me on the Motown, sound, and like I said, we were just having a good time. We got to Atlanta and to my daughters, and we were just enjoying ourselves. And there was supposed to be a feast, a party, to celebrate my grandson's graduation, and at the same time welcome my brothers there, because he's such a people person, And it was supposed to be on a Saturday, but everybody showed up on that Friday, and we all enjoyed ourselves. I wrote a song about Charleston Strong, and he was going to sing the second verse of that song so I could turn it in the following week. Saturday afternoon, my brother never made it to my daughter's house.
Oh, really?
And this was the first time that he has ever stayed in a hotel since we've been going back and forth to Atlanta visiting. Don't know why, but it was just God's, way of doing things. And I kept asking him, why don't you just cancel the reservation. Why don't you cancel the reservation, Danny, and, just stay over here with us? Well, sis, all I'm going to do is sleep there. All I'm going to do is sleep there. And when he left that Friday evening and that Saturday, around 11 o'clock, I'm looking for him because he had a brisket smoking.
Okay.
And he was a gourmet.
Okay, so he
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And 11 o'clock, he didn't show up. 12, didn't show up. And I said, well, where's my brother? Because he's always showing up around 11, even if here, at home. And when I told my daughter that she needed to check on her uncle, and she said, well, Mom, I thought that maybe he might have been resting from the night before because we were having such a good time. When she went, she did call his number, his phone, no answer. So she went, and I started to go with her, and it was right around the corner. The hotel was right around the corner. And when they got there, they got no answer. And when they finally got to the room, after going through all of the legalities
Right.
at the, from the front desk, and my granddaughter and my daughter's best friend went in and found him asleep, eternal sleep. Well, of course, it really took a toll on me, but that wasn't it. I missed him so much, and I went through, and my girlfriend Ingrid, she was there, and she was always, there, and I stayed with her.
Okay.
Because my children insisted, take Mom. And so as I'm staying with Ingrid, and and she left me alone and let me grieve, for the first 3 days because I wasn't going to leave my brother in Atlanta. On the 4th day, Ingrid came in and she said, Audrey, you all right? Of course, I wasn't hungry, but she would make me eat those other days. And I would just go in the room and stay. And so when she came on the 4th day, she said, Audrey, you all right? And so I said, yeah, I'm okay. She said, well, I know you're grieving and I know you're hurting and stuff. She said, but don't die here.
And that's
Typical Ingrid, I tell you. That was my first laugh since my brother's demise.
Just straight up with it.
Don't die here. So, anyway, as life, we went on and we made it down to Charleston and, preparing for the funeral and everything. And at that time, I was kind of looking forward to the trip to Egypt. And then again, I wasn't thinking about the trip to Egypt.
Right, because you were thinking about your brother.
Exactly. So when, after the funeral services and everything, my sister-in-law, who I was in her life at the age of 8 years old, and I was in their wedding at age 11. My brother lived here in Somerville, and he had his house there because they were separated, and they were separated for quite some time. But my brother was a man.
Okay.
He took care of his family, although through the separation.
Sure.
And he took care of the whole entire family. And my sister-in-law and I were talking on the phone one evening. She's in San Antonio, Texas. And she was telling me that, she had some concerns about keeping up with the payments until she got the paperwork done with the VA papers and, and all of the other insurance stuff. And so I know how it is when you have to fill out those forms and the time consumption, because I was a young widow of a vet myself.
Okay.
And so I said, I'll tell you what. I said, let me check on something because until you do probate, and I understand, I said, but let me check on something in the legal aspect. And I was thinking that maybe she can rent the house or do an Airbnb until probate and the house is in her name. But I just wanted to make sure that it was right. She said, okay, and and tried to make excuses, that she was fine. And so I said, all right. Then I, left it alone because she said she was fine. No later than maybe 5-10 minutes, maybe not even that long, I get a text on my phone. And it was her. And I was wondering who's texting me 11:30 at night when I have to go to work the next morning. But she texted her son. And what she said in the text was about me. But instead of sending the text to her son, it came to me.
Ooh.
And that hurt, what I read.
Mm-hmm.
And when I responded, oops, Lorraine, I don't think you meant for me to get this. And I was just not devastated. It didn't hit me then because I guess I was in such a shock, I had a delayed reaction. Mm-hmm. And what I told her that if you felt that way, then you don't have to worry about me anymore. And of course, texting back and forth, and I kept telling her, I said, but you know what? This is just God's divine way of telling me what I needed to know, showing me what I needed to know. As time passed, and I was hurting, I was really hurting because she was the only last connection that I had to Danny, because I have no more brothers, no more sisters. I have a niece that we grew up as sisters. Mm-hmm. And, she's married, and, I hardly see her, but we do talk,
right.
Love one another. But, when you're married, you got,
you have other obligations, responsibilities, priorities.
Exactly. Right. And so it was like, I got lonely, because I'm thinking about my brother. Now, I wasn't, as anger and malice started filtering in my heart, it was nothing toward my brother. Let me be clear, it was nothing towards my brother at all, because he was the best brother God has ever given me, a gift. And but it was toward my sister-in-law. And I tried reaching out to my niece and nephews, not to talk about the mother, but just to keep that connection going. Right. Okay. And it seemed as though it was a division.
They might have known what happened.
Yeah, they found out.
Okay.
But then, they weren't close to their mom. But when you only have one parent left,
then you're gonna obviously.
Of course, right. And I get it. Yeah. I get that, and I don't fault them for that. But my anger started, like I was saying, growing in my spirit. And I kept, the more anger, the more malice, the more hate that kept coming. I was crying every day, crying at work, crying at home. When I go to sleep, I wake up early in the morning, the first person is in my mind was my sister-in-law. And I'm sad and I'm angry. And I'm around here talking. I'm not thinking about Egypt at all at this point. And it got so bad until my heart got dark. And I felt it. I felt that darkness. I play for a church. I'm going to church and I'm crying at church and I'm asking the church to pray for me, and I'm sharing the hurt that I'm going through. And it got to the point where, people pray and stuff, but you got to deal with you.
Right.
And just like the word said, let a man examine himself. but I wasn't going there.
You weren't examining yourself.
I wasn't going there, and because I didn't want to go there.
So you wanted to be in that place.
That's how it felt. Yep, I wanted to be there because it had gotten to that point that, what did I do? What did I do to deserve this? Why the lies? Why the pretentious? And all these years, I've been in this woman's life since I was 8 years old. So for months, I went through this.
For months?
Months. No, not weeks, not days, months. And as I'm going through, I'm going to church. And as I'm going to church, I'm walking in church angry, and I'm walking out angry. As I'm playing for church, I feel nothing. I'm listening to the minister preach the sermon. I hear nothing. I feel nothing. And as I'm coming home, I told God I was angry with him. And because you're letting all this stuff happen, I feel nothing. Nothing.
You're numb at this point.
So my children are telling me, are you still going to Egypt? And I'm not even thinking about Egypt. I'm just angry. Every time you look, I'm just talking about this situation. Just keeping it going. Realizing that this woman got power because I am
focused on her.
Where an enemy would want you to be. And I felt that. And it got to the point where I felt a disconnect from God. I couldn't hear him anymore. I couldn't hear the Holy Spirit speak to me anymore. When I sit down and practice music, the playing was there, but the anointing wasn't. And I felt that. When my children kept telling me to go to Egypt, you need to go to Egypt, because you're going to hurt somebody or either you're going to hurt yourself.
And this is what your children told you. So they could see what was happening.
They could see what was happening. I would laugh, and when I'm around company, I would laugh and joke and have a good time. But once those doors are closed, once the company is gone, it was back to that same state for months. Nobody knew, nobody could pick up on it, nothing, nobody. It was just me and God. So when my kids kept nagging me about going, the trip was paid for. The airlines were paid for. I had my passport and everything, but I said, I'm not going to go because I'm not going to be good company.
So you were not going to go to Egypt?
I wasn't.
It was already paid for and everything, and you weren't going to go?
The money just gone.
You just going to walk away?
That's it.
Ooh.
And because I knew I wasn't going to be good company, and I knew, I felt that I was just going to be, standoffish. I was going to be salty. Okay. I knew that. That's how let's say at that time, that's what I knew I was going to do, because I didn't want to let go. I wanted revenge. I did.
I mean, you're being real. I mean, because a lot of people, and it's the reason why this is so powerful is because, a lot of times people in church, they ignore this and they'll try to act like everything is all good. No. But you were like, hey, look, I'm playing the organ. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm going through. I didn't even want to change.
That's what I didn't want to change. I didn't.
And so this is really speaking on a lot of different levels. I mean, you talk about a trip, but we're talking about a whole lot of different things here. So you were about to cancel this trip.
Yep.
What happened?
So when I got tired of hearing the kids telling me that I need to do something, I need to get away, Mama. You need to go on this trip. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna go. And not only that. That wasn't the only thing. The group that I was going with, they were texting and they were, we're going to do this and we're getting ready for this and, get the passport. You got the passport to the visas and, the insurance and, checking to see if all of this stuff was done. And Audrey, what you doing? Are you getting this stuff? And I'm at work. Yeah. I'm just texting
You just in
and
your
going
space.
with the flow. And so when I decided, okay, I'll just go ahead and get it. And I went and I applied for the visa. Ingrid, she was always, every time I asked a question, everybody was texting and telling me exactly what to do. Ingrid was calling.
Go ahead, Ingrid.
But I'm not picking up on any of this stuff because I'm still here. I'm still on the left. Okay. And make sure I got the insurance. I'm asking about the insurance. Everybody's texting and telling me exactly what to do. Ingrid calling. Now I'm not realizing this stuff until after I got to Egypt. That this was God's work. Okay, because you going. And so once everything was straight, and once I had gotten the attire together, and once I had gotten the baggage and everything packed, and making sure I got this and that according to what the girls are telling me, because they've been with you before, so they're telling me exactly what to get, what not to get, what to have, what not to have, and I'm asking these questions. As I packed, my son, he's still, you going? Making sure you're going, Mama. I will drive you to Atlanta.
From Charleston.
So you can catch your flight. I said, son, you'll do that? Yeah, I'm going to do that for you because I want you to go and I want you to be relaxed. That's what my son says, okay? So as I'm going to get ready to pick him up and I'm making sure everything is in that car, in my truck. And Jay, when I was walking out, making sure everything was taken care of, lights or whatever, because my son is going to be here. Well, not here in Charleston, but he's going to come back and check. But I want to make sure everything was straight for that day. When I got to that door, I looked at my mother's picture. And I said, Lord, tell my mother everything's going to be okay. And I said, Lord, please don't let me come back into this house in the manner in which I'm leaving. Please make me a new creature that you talked about in your word. Because you said, all of this is right there. I'm standing right here.
As you're getting ready to leave.
Doors open. I said, you said, if I ask anything in your name, you'll do. And I said, I can't hear you anymore. I can't feel you anymore. And I said, and I'm asking you to let me come back brand new. And I thank you. And I closed that door. So if anything I left in this house that I was supposed to take on the trip, I'd have to buy, because I didn't want to come back
in the same way that you were
in the
leaving.
same way I left. So I'm getting kind of full, but
it's all right.
It's all good. It's
It's
all
all
good.
right.
It's all good. So once I got to Atlanta, I was still here. I was trying, I was still here, but nobody knew.
So your mindset was still in this place, in the space that you were
My mindset was still wanting revenge on my sister-in-law. Because she hurt me so bad, because I thought ever since the age of 8, and I'm 67.
Okay.
So I thought from age 8 to 66, she loved me. I thought she did. I really did.
So you discovered, obviously the text message made you feel something different. And so
She said something different.
So now here you are in Atlanta, and you're now in this space, headed to Egypt, fighting through all of this to get there. What's happening in Atlanta?
we're talking, we're laughing, we're joking, and nobody knows. Nobody, picks up on, the hurt, the darkness, and stuff. And my children, they didn't even know how dark my heart was. They knew that I was upset and I was hurt and I was angry, but they didn't know to the extent.
Because you still had a mask on.
Yeah, I did. It
was a mask.
It was a
You
mask.
were smiling. You were doing everything. You were, because you're the life of the party now.
Yeah.
That's why it shocked me when she told me the other night. I was like, oh, wait a minute here.
Yep.
So you were you were Audrey, and you were doing all of that.
All that, and I was still kind of upset with God. I still was, but I wasn't angry like I was before, because mind you, when I told him that I was angry with him, that before that night came, I told him I was sorry.
So you understand, you rewound some things there. You tweaked that a little bit. I got you.
I said, I'm sorry.
You
I
understood.
said, but I am still angry, of all this. Well, anyway, when the time came for me to go to Egypt and go into the airport, my doctor gave me he told me before I go on my trip to come and see him so that he can give me something to relax. And he gave me some Valiums. And that was my first time taking Valiums, right?
Oh, boy.
So I said, well, okay, let me go, because I'm going with the flow. I'm thinking that when we leave Atlanta and we get to Canada, I'm thinking that we're going to stay in Canada, spend the night in Canada, because I'm not.
You're not even focused.
I'm
just like, I'm here.
As long as I got Ingrid, Pat, Tony, Robin, Kim, and
Keenan, that right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And so when we left Atlanta and got to Canada, I started feeling a little better, because I said, okay, I'm this far now. I said, no sense of me going, someplace and not being happy, because I don't know. That was my first time meeting Kim and her sister-in-law and niece.
Yes.
So I didn't want them to pick up on anything, And as I'm there at the airport in Canada, and I fell asleep. Didn't know I fell asleep, but I'm talking months of interrupted sleep. And once, when I should have taken that Valium a long time ago.
No, the Valium. The Valium put you out. Okay, that's why I kind of chuckled a little early. I was like, yeah.
So I fell asleep on the chair, the airport, waiting on the flight and everything. And so once we got aboard to go to Cairo, it seems as though my spirit started getting lighter. And it was like, once we had gotten at a certain point in the air, I can't tell you exactly where, but it's like God lifted everything that was in my heart and just took it out. I felt nothing about Charleston. I didn't even think about home. And I didn't realize that until I got to the hotel in Cairo. I didn't even realize that I wasn't thinking about home. Honest, I wasn't thinking about the kids, although they had me tracked on the phone.
Of course they did.
And everything. And I told them not to call because it costs 25 cents a minute. I'm not, if you need me, you need me to tell me something, text me, but don't call me because I'm not answering. And, all this one thing and then the other. Once we got to Egypt, and once we got to the hotel, and I walked in that room, and I walked out on the balcony, I was in a new place. A new place, but that didn't do it. The next morning, I got up and I put on my clothes early. I wasn't tired from the time change because, like I said, I didn't think about Charleston at all. I didn't even realize the time had changed so drastic.
Right.
You know,
6 hours, 7 hours, 7
I didn't
hours.
realize none of that. I didn't. I woke up. I felt that I woke up the same time I would wake up here early in the morning, and I got dressed, brushed my teeth, washed my face. Tony and my roommate, she in the bed, she's snoring, having a good time in her sleep, and when I opened the drapes and I saw how beautiful that sun looked, and I put on my clothes and I grabbed my journal and my phone and I went on that balcony, and it was just me and God. And when I tell you that I heard him for the first time in months. And he said, don't write nothing, just listen to me. Just listen to me. And I listened and I heard him say that I will never leave you comfortless. I will never leave you comfortless. And when I heard him say that, I just thanked him for not letting me go. I thanked him for giving me the mindset to realize I needed to check me. I needed to examine me because I had unforgiveness in my heart so much that if I had died in this state, I knew where my destination would have been. And frankly, I didn't care. And when it got to that point about not caring where you're going to spend eternal life, knowing that all the years you've been serving God, and knowing that when you go and you play for the Lord, you are playing for him, that, yeah, I got to eat, and this is part of a living. But when you get to that point in your life when you say that the money don't matter, is the blessings that I received when I play for him versus being in the state that I was in. God was telling me, I'm not going to let you go because I know who you are. And I know what you've been doing all your days of playing for me. You've been putting me first. And I didn't even think about none of that stuff because I was hurting.
Right.
I was hurting. And Christians hurt, but they got to be real with themselves. And if I wasn't real with myself and being pretentious, acting like, oh, I'm the dutiful Christian and I forgive everybody, that's a lie from the pit of hell. Because you got to go through to get to that point of genuine forgiveness.
Right.
You got to go through your feelings.
You got to be human.
You do. You do have to be human.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that when they say, you're supposed to be a Christian, I got a pet peeve about that. Don't you question my Christianity, because see, I got to walk that path, not you. You got to walk your own path.
Right, that's right.
And I had to walk my path.
Yeah.
When I got to eat, after that morning, and I heard God tell me that I will never leave you, Egypt saved me. Because every monument we went to, I touched. Every place we went, I picked up a rock. But now I got water. And I got it past customs.
Yeah, of course.
And I got it upstairs.
There you go.
And when I came home, I anointed my house with that now water. I needed to be where Christ walked. I needed to be where our ancestors were. I needed to be where our kings and queens and learn more about our heritage. I needed to be there to know who I am.
And that was
where I come from.
and that started to open up another side that you didn't even know.
New side, and it took me to another level. I can honestly tell you, through the tears right now, these are tears of joy.
I can tell. I can tell.
I forgive my sister-in-law, and it's not a pretentious thing. Now, when it comes to restoring a relationship, no, I don't have to go there, but I can forgive her.
Sure.
I can forgive her that if she picked up the phone and she asked for forgiveness, I can genuinely say, Lorraine, I've forgiven you a long time ago, but yes.
But you had to go through.
I had to go through.
And the thing that I keep hearing you say is how you had to check yourself, because so many people won't stop long enough and they'll point the finger at the other person their entire life.
You got to check yourself.
And say, hey, you know what, this person did this to me, this person, and then they leave it there, and that's how they live.
And that's how they live, and then, but they still giving that person power because she had power over me.
It sounds like it.
She had power over me. When you can't forgive a person for anything, they got power over you. I used to hear it when they teach you in Bible study. I used to hear it, when people say, why are you giving her that much power or him that much power? I used to hear it, but I can actually say I lived it. I lived it. And I know what it feels like. But you have to check yourself. You have to examine yourself. You have to take a look at yourself. You have to look in that mirror and you have to look at yourself and see what good thing dwells in this flesh. None. This flesh is nasty and dirty as it wants to be.
It is that. And it'll do whatever.
I don't care. You can wash with all kind of soap, Dove, everything. You
can throw some comment in there.
You can throw some bleach on there.
I don't go to the bleach.
But nothing good. And until we Christians understand and realize that, then you can look at yourself and you can be a better person.
And so what Egypt did, it sounds like, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted everyone to hear this story is because you changed your scenery. Imagine had you stayed.
I would have still been nasty.
And and so many people are in that space, but it's almost like you moved out of the negativity, a negative environment, if you will, although the negativity was happening within, but you moved yourself to a different space. So now you could see things differently, could hear differently. And it's almost like something opened up that you didn't even know existed.
I can focus more. And another thing about Egypt, when I say Egypt saved me, the group that I was with, the laughter, the genuine laughter, the genuine friendship, the genuine caring. If one person wasn't around, where's so-and-so, where's so-and-so, where's, even in the pyramid, people, who weren't in our group, as I'm climbing up the pyramid, doing this challenge thing, and people were coming down and they would say, you can do it. You're almost there. Don't give up. It'll be worth it when you see it. You're doing good. That kind of encouragement, that resonated. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Because people didn't even know you.
That's right.
But they're encouraging you to go on, and go on.
So that positivity seemed like it had an influence as well.
It did. It really did. And, everything about Egypt, every place we went, even the people there, the struggles that you see they're going through. You see it. But it's okay.
They're
there. I mean, they won't. This is the thing. As soon as you get off the bus, as soon as you go somewhere, welcome home.
Now, a lot of people think that it's not like that in Egypt.
Welcome home. That's the first. I should have said that from the very beginning. Welcome home is what I kept hearing. Welcome home, my cousin. Welcome home, my sister. Welcome home. Every time you a stranger in the street, hello, my cousin. They might have been begging, but at least they acknowledge you as family.
Very interesting. And again, so many of us in the States are told something completely different.
Oh yeah.
What were you when let's talk a little bit about Egypt. What were you expecting? What were you thinking Egypt was going to be like, if anything? Because you were kind of numb, so you might not have been thinking anything.
Exactly. I wasn't thinking anything.
You were just like, I'm here.
Yeah. I'm here, and I just want to change. I want to change, but the miracle that occurred when I got in Egypt was when God moved all that mess, all that nastiness out of my heart. I didn't feel it. It's like, when you hear the old folks get up in church and say God moved it out the way, and
the mountain moved.
I can honestly, He moved it because I felt none of that stuff. I felt peace. I felt my joy coming back.
Wow.
I felt my happiness coming back. I felt, most of all, my peace coming back. I felt my forgiveness coming back. That's something that I did not expect to feel. Genuine forgiveness. Who out there can say that they honestly, genuinely forgive someone and mean it?
Yeah, and that's a different level of maturity.
I mean it.
And sometimes you have to go to the bottom.
And I was at the bottom.
In order to recognize it and to say, I don't want to be here. And then that's when the work is done. And then you're like, it's almost like it gives you the opportunity to rise.
Yeah.
But how many people, but you did the work to acknowledge it.
I had to.
And then you moved out of the way too.
I did. I had to. Either that or either just be a nasty, messy person. And I've already had a taste of that before going to Egypt. When you can't sleep, when you wake up in the middle of the night and the first thing that's on your mind is the person who hurt you, the devil. That devil doing his job now. That devil did a good job. He did a good job on me, because it was like the devil was sitting there waiting. I can't wait till you wake up, because the first thing I'm going to put in your mind is your sister and what she did.
And that just ate away at you.
It was like acid. It was like acid. But when I say it, Egypt saved me in every aspect and everywhere we went, sitting, talking, just doing nothing, eating, having dinner, having lunch, having breakfast, on the bus, going here, going there, listening to Prince, our guide, the history played a big part in hearing and learning about the history of our sisters and brothers, of our ancestors. And seeing those things that we read in our Bible, doing Bible study, I can actually associate because I've seen it. And I've got so much knowledge and understanding, because now when I read my word, I ask Him, Lord, give me wisdom and understanding through the Holy Spirit, because we don't know. When they call us Bible scholars, man, we ain't near no Bible scholars. I mean, that's just my personal feelings. Yeah, you can read your word every day, and you can memorize that scripture every day. But a Bible scholar, no, because every time you read a scripture, the Holy Spirit always gives you something different. There's always a different revelation.
Yeah.
There's always something different. So, and I'm not putting the terminology down so much, but I just I'm just being real.
Yeah. Hey, well, here's the reality. If you're not real, then you are a co-conspirator to something false.
Yeah.
Whatever that might be. And you got to that place, and I can tell you there are so many people who will watch this, and it's going to touch them, and they're going to say, I'm in that place where I need to either change my environment so my heart can change.
That's right.
Maybe I learn something new, maybe I see something new, maybe I experience something new, and perhaps this is a door or a gateway for me to expand as a person. And that's what it sounds like happening. You sound like you expanded as a person.
And another thing too, because if I had stayed in that state, you know, mental health is real. Mm-hmm. Mental health is so real. And if I had stayed there and developed a complacency of being miserable, mm-hmm. Who knows where my mindset would have been as far as anger and the hate and the malice and then the stuff festering up in your mind, and you start thinking the worst of one person, two person, three people, four people. You know, you feel like, well, the person who really hurt me and who I really trusted, and you know, who's to say that this person wouldn't do the same thing? Right. Who's to say that that person wouldn't do the same thing? And then your mental state is no good.
Yeah, but a lot of people are in that space, and that's why when you told me about how Egypt impacted you, I was like, and you said, hey, look, when your daughter said, no, do you, she asked me, she said, well, Jay, do you do testimonials? I was like, yeah, we do. You know, my mama need to say something. She need to tell somebody. I was like, well, hey, come on, I'm going to come on back. And something that she said that was really profound, and I've heard this before. And she said, you know, Jay, that's your ministry.
Yes, it is.
What you're doing. And I was like, I never thought about travel in that sense.
Yeah.
You know, in the sense of being... of stories like what you're talking about. I'm thinking people going on a trip,
vacation,
learning, you know, we're going to expose us to another part of the world so we can learn more. But when you talked about how that vehicle was there,
yeah,
for you to be able to have a life change on a very deep, a very profound level, mm-hmm. I think about how many other people out there that may need that type of experience but don't even know it, because they have become so complacent yeah. with being in that space.
And that's the truth, because some people don't realize that there is a spiritual war going on within themselves. And, you know, and I'm talking to people not only who walk the same journey as I am, you know, being in church every Sunday, and you see, you know, things and you hear things mm-hmm. before and after, but I'm talking to people, growing Christians, mm-hmm. Even people who are believers but are not practicing, mm-hmm. okay, and you know, it's just things that obstacles in your life that you're gonna go through. But how you going to handle them mm-hmm. when you go through them?
Right.
I thought that I would have been able to handle this situation that I came out of better. Hmm. I thought I knew what to do. Yeah, I knew that I can go to the Word and, you know, find comfort.
But
did I want comfort?
Did you want it? That's the question.
I want it.
Because you spent pretty much your whole life in church.
Yep.
So you played
for Sunday school since I was 8 years old.
And so you played always in the piano?
Played 11. Played in Sunday school since I was 11.
Okay.
And yeah, played here, I played up north, I played in the Caribbean, I played all over. I just used the gift. My mother played, my grandmother played. You know, I come from a musically inclined family. The ones who don't play in the family, they're they sing.
Okay, so there's some sort of musical aspect.
Yeah, exactly. My uncle, he played at the cathedral down on Broad Street. He was the first black to play at the cathedral on Broad Street and stuff. So,
But you've been in there your whole life, and now this is the moment of truth.
That's right.
This is where all the lessons, all the sermons, now it's like, hey, let's see. Wow.
And as I was preparing this, and I was praying, and I was asking the Lord to move me out of the way and give me the words to say when we have this. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you what he also revealed to me around 4 or 5 o'clock today.
All right.
My brother's demise was a blessing because it allowed me to grow and grow spiritually stronger, to focus, to recognize and go through a dark period. And who you're going to rely on and to put your faith on, not rely on. Who are you going to put your faith in when you go through this? Mm-hmm. And when I was sitting in the car waiting for my prescription, and he gave me that revelation, and it came out of my mouth like that, and I said, what? Danny's death was a blessing? Yes. And I say it like this, yeah, when one passes and we love them so much, of course it's going to hurt. But death is not the end. Death is the beginning. Because we have eternal life. We're just passing through.
Definitely, just passing through.
So when I said my brother's, when it was revealed to me that my brother's death was a blessing, I say that because it allowed me to grow. It allowed me to conquer, we are conquerors through Jesus Christ. It allowed me to conquer that that darkness in my heart. It allowed me to stand back and take a look at myself. Do I want to sit here and be in darkness? What if Danny hadn't have passed?
Perhaps you wouldn't have even known that was there.
That's right. I wouldn't have known.
It would have been a blind spot.
That's right. I would have thought that, I ain't got a problem in the world. I'll never have a problem. I know what to do. I know what to conquer. I know what, read my word. That's what he said. But I was at the bottom, Jay. I was at the bottom. I was in darkness. My heart was black.
It sounds like your brother's death allowed you to discover your own humanity.
My own humanity.
And discover that part of yourself that may have been hidden from you.
That's right.
And that's a very deep understanding. Because one thing I tell people all the time, I said, I have yet to meet anybody who has it going on. Mm-hmm. I said, everybody got something.
Yeah.
Everybody. I said, I've met a whole lot of people, and I said, they look the part. Mm-hmm. I said, but when they get hit with the right set of circumstances, you want to find out who they really are. And I said, when we all understand that we have that part, we might not have had that situation that took us there, but you had that situation that took you there, and you were able to rise.
I sure was. I have witnessed death 3 times. 3. The first one was my husband. We were right there on the beach. And when he left, I was right there. When he took his last breath. When it was a drowning incident out in the Caribbean. He died. I'm drowned snorkeling. And he taught me how to snorkel.
Okay.
And when they brought him up, and when we got into the ambulance and we were going, and the echocardiogram was going on, and him and the young lady who was driving, she said, "Oh, your husband, he's going to be fine because he's strong." And I looked at Michael and I just said, "Lord, if it's your will." And the echocardiogram went flatline right then and there. First one. Second, my mother was in the room, and she had colon cancer, and I was getting dressed for work one morning. That's when I was living around the corner. This is before the house, was rebuilt. And as I was getting dressed, I remembered I left the deodorant in her room. And when I went to her room, and our rooms were right across from one another, and my mother used to snore. Oh boy, she could rattle some walls. I ain't gonna say too much because I know I can rattle that. I ain't gonna say nothing because
I wasn't gonna say nothing.
I get it honestly
I want to be quiet. I'm gonna be a good host here. Mind my business. You drink my water, mind my business.
But anyway, when I was approaching her room, I didn't hear her snore. And I looked, and I saw her just laying there, and I said, "Mom?" I said, "Mommy?" I said, "Mom?" And I went up to her, and I felt her. The forehead was cold, but I said, "Oh, you done gone home." My mom. Third and last one, Danny. Although I didn't find him, but we spent our last days together. And I thank God for that, because I was with him on the last days.
Right.
And it was a good time. He laughed and danced his way out of this world on Fence Walk by Mandrill.
All right.
So, and I say that to say this. The strength was always there, but I didn't realize it because I went the other direction. So, it's your choice. It's your choice. Because God would not put you in situations if he knew you couldn't handle them.
Right.
So, when that last thing occurred, when my sister-in-law, and I couldn't even call her name during the time when I was hating. I couldn't even acknowledge her as a sister-in-law during the time I was hating. I would acknowledge her as her.
No, I was gonna say her. I thought you would.
No, yeah.
Some other words.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I did.
But a lot of people are there. That's what I'm saying. And we all have moments in life. So somebody might say, "Well, I don't understand why she," and we so quickly forget.
We do.
We so quickly forget those places that we can find ourselves in. So with this, and I'm glad to know this. I'm glad that we were able to be a part of the restoration process, if you will.
Oh, yes.
And to be that vehicle. And I hope that, as someone is watching right now, that you hear Miss Audrey and what she's saying. It's deeper. The trip was just one part of it, but it's even deeper. And I'm hoping that, whatever state or place you might be in, because sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's not, nobody wants to belittle anybody's. And nobody's pointing a finger or saying, you better do X, Y, Z. But to at least, hear, I'm doing travel.
Yeah.
But this is deeper than travel. Travel is just a piece of the puzzle. And maybe for somebody, you're thinking, I need to change the pace because I'm working on something now where I'm helping people to reboot their lives.
Oh my goodness, you sure helped me to reboot mine. You did. You did.
Well, I didn't realize it.
I mean, you did. You really maximum impact. I even wrote a song. I got the song, and I was supposed to sing the song, but I wanted to revise the song because I felt that it could have been much, much better. But that was during a time, and that's what I'm talking about. When I was able to focus, when Egypt helped me, it gave me that mindset to put that education from full sales to use again, because that died. That died. Everything was just dead. But maximum, when Ingrid said, "Oh, Jay's a nice guy. You're gonna enjoy him," and this one thing and then the other. But I'm gonna tell you about Maximum, because I've been telling everybody about Maximum. The best thing about that trip, besides reboot, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that's going to be my word from now on, and when I describe this, it's going to be a reboot, is that you made everything so enjoyable by the organization and by the people you had in your group. Everything, a traveler couldn't ask for anything better. And for me, who was going through something that nobody knew, I did not have a mask on. I had a mask before I got there. And I probably had the mask on for maybe a day or a day and a half. When I came out that pyramid,
you left it in the pyramid.
And the hat.
A little skinny hat.
But it was like, it was the people you had in place, the guy that you had for us, Ahmed Prince, and and Mustafa, bruh. I'm talking about bruh now. All right.
Yeah.
The other Mustafa that you had put in place, he came around, but he came around, but bruh, and the photographer, and it was so much fun on the bus. Through the heat, through the tiredness and everything, once we got on that bus, it was like we were alive again. And that helped me a whole lot when we got back to the ship. And we were glad to get back to the ship. And we ate and we enjoyed ourselves. It was so much fun. This trip will remain in my heart until I die. And because it's the first trip, and the first impression is always the lasting impression, they say. But Egypt and Maximum Impact really saved me. It did. It really did. And it had me to look at myself and to get my joy and my peace, my love and my forgiveness. And I mean this with the bottom, at the base of my soul, the bottom of my heart. When I say I have forgiveness in my heart, I really do. And that's the best feeling. If nobody's never felt it, that's the best feeling that you can have. And when you do come up, I'm not going to say that there weren't struggles or any something going on since then, because like I said, he's going to try you. Satan's going to try you. But I am at that point that when I recognize that I'm going to be thinking on something hard or something's going to aggravate my spiritual walk or even my walk, I stop. I said, wait a minute, hold up. Lord, this is not my problem. Because you told me to cast all my cares on you. So right now, I'm casting everything on you. I'm just asking you to help me get through it. Because I'm going to go through it.
Right.
But I'm asking you to help me go through it, and I want you to put that same mindset in me, which is the big T, trust. Trust you. that he's going to work out your battles. He's going to fight your battles. And that's powerful to me, because I have that trust and I have that faith back. I have all the things back that he intends for me to have. I have my weapons.
This is a beautiful story, and I think that, again, for the person who's watching right now, maybe you know someone who just needs a change of scenery, and something that's resonated with me throughout all of this is the importance of a reboot. Some of us live life day after day after day, month after month, year after year, doing the same things, and we're in the same environments, in the same spaces, and for many of us, we have kind of trained ourselves to be afraid to venture out and to see something different. But as Miss Audrey shared with you, said it was really the work that needed to be done in her, but she changed her environment. And when she changed her environment, that there was something that was able to lift versus just kind of staying in that same place. She was able to get a breath of fresh air from the standpoint of spiritually, emotionally, environmentally. She was able to do something different. And so that's what I would hope anybody watching, and in whatever context, wherever you are, that you're able to do it, because clearly, as you heard Miss Audrey saying, that something transformed in her life, and so now she's able to be free. You know, she's able to forgive her sister-in-law and to now experience a joy that she had been missing out on. So I want to thank you for sharing this story, because I didn't know. I thought we're taking people to Egypt, but now we're seeing that there's life transformation that's happening. So
a lot of people didn't, but I'm glad I'm able to at least tell my story.
Well, I thank you. And so I'm here with Miss Audrey Lisbon here in Charleston, South Carolina, the Chuck, the Low Country, the Gullah Geechee part of the world. You see,
and I had some oxtails for him, but he said he don't want any.
I don't want no oxtail out here now, because I can talk Geechee too. You don't think I talk Geechee? I can talk it, and I didn't know it was good though. I didn't know that okra soup she had up in here the other night was so good. And I tell you, I in it now, in it.
Yeah, man, in it. He sure is. He sure is.
I was born here. I can talk it too.
So much fun.
Yeah,
I tell you, it's so much fun.
Well, thank you so much for having me in your home and inviting me and introducing me to your family. Yeah. And this was her first Maximum Impact trip. So you know the next one we're trying to get her to Ghana.
Oh, yeah.
Or South Africa, or wherever we end up.
God, I'm going with Maximum Impact. Maximum Impact.
All right, everybody. So you know what to do? Share this video, because somebody needs to know. Somebody needs to hear these words. And I guarantee you, even if they never go on a trip, at least they hear the story and will inspire them to change their scenery. So until next time, be sure to like, subscribe, share. Take care. Be safe.
Open up your eyes and see all the fun and mystery. Take an African adventure with daring and destiny. From the mountains to the shore, so many things to explore. Take an African adventure with daring and destiny.
The Adventures of Darren and Destiny. And Darren and Destiny are twin brother and sister. And you go on their adventures throughout the African diaspora, meaning so African diaspora destinations, primarily focused in Africa, but we go to South America, we're going to go to the Caribbean. Their first book is going to take you to Ghana. And then we're going to go on a safari. And from there, we're going to go to Ethiopia. And then we go to Salvador, Brazil. And what the goal is to be able to inspire curiosity in the continent of Africa, in our children from a very young age, and to really tell a more accurate story. Most of our children are exposed to negative images, late night infomercials about how bad things are, everybody's sick, everybody's poor, everyone's uneducated, but that's simply not true. So what Darren and Destiny and their family do is they go to different African destinations. They are learning about these different places. You're beginning to see positive images, but still telling the truth. I mean, that's the important thing, to tell the truth about some of the things that have occurred. But it's all done on a children's level so they begin to understand it. And it begins to pique their curiosity, they begin to learn more, and hopefully one day they will want to explore and visit the continent of Africa and its many countries. There's just so much that Darren and Destiny are able to do, and as they're doing it, it's like they begin to open the minds of a new generation, and they don't get bombarded and indoctrinated with negativity. They're actually able to see positivity and inspiring images and messages about the African diaspora, as well as those who are still indigenous to the continent of Africa, and they begin to learn more and just see things differently. So I'm excited about introducing the adventures of Darren and Destiny.